Dear Nigerian citizens, I hope you'll be monitoring the build up to events towards the 2027 general election. I hope you'll be making critical observation with regards to play of power. In as much as Nigerian and Nigerians do not actually have a thing with making rational decisions from critical observation of information at their domain. But then we could observe the floodgate of activities, the personalities we defend, the dynamics of inconsistencies, cross carpeting, coalition, and a whole lot of that. We could see how authors who had initially described some personalities as laughable, who had initially described some personalities as unstable, described some personalities as inconsistent, have actually swallowed their vomit and have actually gone back to those personalities. For instance, if you take Abia State, as a case study, we have Labour Party in Abia State. The current governor, Dr. Alesoti, is from Labour Party, who is actually, loyal or in affiliation with Peter Obi, who was also the presidential aspirant of Labour Party in 2023. Today, there is a coalition, and that coalition have swallowed up PDP in most states in the country. In fact, a particular state in the north, every member of PDP in that state have moved to ADC, leaving only the PDP chairman. That is the dynamics of power. That is the dynamics of political society. The political society targets one thing, seizing power. That is their target, and they are ready to make use of any prospects, any available instrumentation. They are ready to use it to achieve their goals. Why am I actually saying this? Why I'm saying this is actually simple. How do the supporters rationalize their engagement in politics? How do we actually measure and critique political actors? Do we actually merely attack persons, or do we critique policies, measure value of policies, measure politicians for their works, what they said yesterday and what they are saying today, measure politicians by what they say they will do and how much they have actually done it, measure politicians by the amount of money that been expanded to a particular project and what it should worth, measure politicians by what they are doing in comparison to what other governors are actually doing, not these dynamics of benchmarking failure. This guy was here, he didn't do actually do, now he's doing it. Not these dynamics that the governor comes, use the amount of money that could buy 20 Rolls Royce and fixes 5 bicycles. And all we will say is, well, when the previous governor was there, we didn't actually have any bicycles. Now we have bicycles. Let us drum, let us rejoice, let us dance. God have done it, and the governor is actually doing well and all that. That's actually an aspect of it. And the second aspect of it, those of you who have actually taken the perpetual contract of insulting personalities you might never ever fit into their shoes in terms of their social capital, in terms of their economic weight, in terms of their social clout, in terms of the scope of the operation, the entirety of their network, their exposures, and a whole lot of dynamics that makes them a person or a politician. Those of you whose approach to politics is insult, you would have actually seen the limits of your usefulness. You would also have seen the stupidity in your engagement. How do you approach a particular politician and all the words you will actually use instead of describing and critiquing what he or she is actually doing? You descend to insulting personalities that when if you come face to face to them, you will be on your knees and all that. You will see these people you have been insulting for years or for days or for weeks, months. You could see your principals who you think you're insulting those personalities to please to please your principals. You could see your principals in alignment with them. For those of them in Labour Party in Abia State, I think they are also going to collapse into the ADC. into the ADC, with some fashion of PDP, which have already collapsed into the ADC. That's at one end. And secondly, too, I'm doubt because almost all the governors are impressed with the president. That's a fact. The doubling, the doubling of federal allocation to states, the doubling of federal allocation to states makes it that many governors have the fund to perform, to carry out capital projects, to pay salaries. Almost all the governors are impressed with Mr. President. That is the dynamics of the political class. It is for the citizens to actually determine whether the political class is performing well, whether we should give our support to a particular politician and order, not what the political class want. The political class satisfy themselves in high stakes of distributive politics. How appointment made to them, the allocation that is actually given to them, your ability to actually, influence certain projects that come to your people for, especially those of them who are actually interested. For instance, in Niger State, and since we actually have witnessed the engagement of senators and House of Reps in national politics, it is Benjamin Kano for the very first time who have actually played politics the way it is actually being played, influencing massive projects to Abia State, Umuahia federal tertiary institutions, and a whole lot of engagement and all that. For those of them who actually want, that's their interest, and that's what made them tick. That's what made them tick as elites in their own right. So, my very good friends, you guys should be able to observe the characters you have actually attacked, the ones you have actually, supported, and all that. Find out how they are faring in terms of the current alignments and realignments, where they actually belong and where you belong, whether you can actually be ascertained or be seen as a consistent character in your effort to support, impress a particular principle, or attack a particular one also to impress your principle and order. So, my dear friends, as we are winding down to 2027, a whole whirlwind of political activities have actually started. This is now the time the youth goes on rampage, insulting, deriding, and doing all kinds of things to impress their principles, doing all kinds of things to show that they are actually more visible in their support, more fierce and all that. My friends, it is yourself you are actually doing. It speaks of the lowest ebb of intellectual frame. You are not an intelligent being. Power dynamics doesn't actually work that way. And to the citizens, the general citizens who might not be part of the political society or their teaming supporters, who all they want is good governance. My very good friends, Nigerian citizens in this flank, please critique every government policy, appraise, critique with the modest of language, critique every policy options by measuring values with projects. And let's actually establish this. It's laughable how people take on national projects to extend their civic irrelevance, civic irresponsibility, and civic liability. Many people take on national projects. It is very convenient to do so. They have data and they actually know that they are wasting speed, that they are appraisals have no viability, have no weight, have no dynamics because most times they actually speak without fact. They are actually most impulsive and they are actually, deluded with their irrelevancies and all that. The same citizens who are, it's confident for them to tackle the people at the national level and all that are members of different micro communities. By micro community, I dare say, for instance, I'm a lecturer. I belong to a university. I've worked in different universities. I have been exposed to maladministration. In most of those universities I've actually worked. What have actually been my contribution? Am I afraid to contribute, to critique, to contribute how I'm actually being administered in my primary unit? Or am I also enthusiastic to queue behind these maladministrators, provide defense once my bread is better buttered, queue behind them, support them, even spy for them to tell them these are the people saying this and these are the people saying that, or choose to say nothing and then gets into my Facebook, gets into my X, gets into Instagram, and then start doing presenting is not doing this is not doing this, wicked that, Fabio, Natasha, all kinds of inanities and frivolous engagements and all that, exporting irrelevancies at where it doesn't matter. We all operate in regions where we can actually make impact. If you cannot make impact in the primary unit of your existence, you can never make any impact anywhere. Most of the characters